Estimating a population proportion. Lesson objective: construct and interpret a confidence interval for the population proportion using technology. We will use Minitab and StatCrunch. Lesson objective: if you recall our example for the university poll that asked 1,783 registered voters nationwide whether they favored or opposed the death penalty for persons convicted of murder. 1,123 were in favor. Obtain a 90% confidence interval for the proportion of registered voters nationwide who are in favor of the death penalty for persons convicted of murder. Here we are in Minitab. To construct the 90% confidence interval for the population proportion, we go to Stat, Basic Statistics, 1 Proportion. We have summarized data, so we click Summarize Data. Number of events is X, 1023. Number of trials is N, that's 1783. We go to Options, change 95 to 90, and we want to click this, use test and interval based upon normal distribution. If we don't click this, Minitab uses what's called the binomial, which may give different results. We hit OK. We hit OK again. And in the session window, Minitab has calculated the 90% confidence interval. Here we are in StatCrunch. To compute the 90% confidence interval for the population proportion, we go to Stat, Proportions, 1 sample with summary. Number of successes is X, which was 1,123. Number of observations is N, that's 1,783. We click Next. Change it to a confidence interval. We want a 90, so we change 95 to a 90, and then we hit Calculate. Here's our lower limit. Here's our upper limit. Using the TI-84 calculator, we go to Stat. Using the right arrow key, we want to go to Tests. Scrolling down, looking for 1 proportion Z interval, which is A. Hit Enter. For X, we type in 1123. For N, we type in 1783. For our confidence level, we want 90%, so we change this to 0.90. Then we hit Calculate. This is our lower limit. This is our upper limit of the confidence interval. This is P hat, and of course this is N. So to interpret our confidence interval, we would say we are 90% confident that the true population proportion of registered voters who are in favor of the death penalty for those convicted of murder is between 0.61 and 0.65. We could also say we are 90% confident that the true population percentage of registered voters who are in favor of the death penalty for those convicted of murder is between 61% and 65%. Let's look at another example. If you recall the Superstition Example from the last video. A USA Today Gallup poll conducted in February 9th through the 11th, 2007 asked 1,006 adult Americans how much would it bother them to stay in a room on the 13th floor of a hotel. Interestingly, 13% said it would bother them. Construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval. Now the first thing that we have to do before we can use Minitab or StatCrunch is we have to express this 13% as x over n. We know n, 1006. We don't know x. So we have to compute x using p hat. So if we look at the formula, p hat is x over n. If we substitute what we know, p hat is 0.13. We know n is 1006. We have an equation where we can figure out x. So the easiest way to compute x is to multiply both sides of the equation by 1006. And if we do that, these cancel. We're left with x, and 13% of 1006 is 130.78, which rounded off is 131. So our x is 131, our n is 1006. Here we are in Minitab. The way you construct the 95% confidence interval for the population proportion. Again, we go to Stat, Basic Statistics, 1 Proportion. Click Summarize Data. We calculate x to be 131. Number of trials is n, 1006. Don't forget to hit Options and choose Use Tests and Interval based upon normal distribution. Hit OK. Hit OK again. And in the session window, Minitab has computed the 95% confidence interval. Here we are in StatCrunch. Again, we go to Stat, Proportions, 1 sample, a summary. Number of successes is x. We computed that to be 131. Number of observations is n, 1006. We hit next. Change it to confidence interval. 95 is what we want. Hit calculate. Here's our lower limit. Here's our upper limit. Using the TI-84 calculator, we go to Stat, use our right arrow key to test, scroll down for A, and A is 1 proportion z interval. Hit enter. Change x to 131. N is 1006. Our confidence level is 95%. So we just go to calculate. Here's our lower limit. Here's our upper limit. And this is p hat. So to interpret our confidence interval, we would say we are 95% confident that the true population proportion of adults that it would bother them to stay on the 13th floor of a hotel is between 0.110 and 0.151. Another way we could say that is we are 95% confident that the true population percentage of adults that it would bother them to stay on the 13th floor of a hotel is between 11% and 15.1%. Thanks for watching.